All right, tell me the story.
Where do I begin? So, I get a call from my boss, and he's like, hey, you want a free pay tomorrow? Free day, like a day off and get paid 8 hours. I said, of course. What do I got to do, though? And I knew it was going to be something out of the ordinary. He's like, I dropped this girl off after a date in the same complex as you. He's like, and she can't find her keys, but I have to go home to my kids. All right. He's like, you need to take care of her. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, she can't find her keys, can't get in, so I need you to either take her to your apartment or bring her to my house, and we'll figure it out in the morning. I'm like, okay. Well, I end up going to find her, walking the apartment complex. I'm like, hey, my boss sent me. I'm Trace. Nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, hi, I'm Tina. And then I was like, hey, so you can't find your keys. It's either I'm going to take you back to Chris's or you can stay at my apartment, until the morning, until maintenance can open the doors for you. And she's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Well, we go on a wild goose chase trying to find her keys. Went to her car at her work, everything. Couldn't find it. It's now 2 a.m. So we go back to my apartment, and I was like, all right, well, you can sleep on the couch. I'm going to go to bed. She passes out on the couch. I go to sleep. It's probably 2:30. I get woken up at like 4 a.m. by like a blind person feeling around in the room. She's like, I'm like, hello? She's like, hi, yeah, scoot over. I'm like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, scoot over. I'm like, I don't know who you are, like we just met kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she comes waddling in my room. She's like, yep, scoot over. So fine, whatever. Let her in bed. She starts talking. And then she's like, all right, I'm going to go to sleep. I got to call off for work in the morning, yada, yada, yada. So it's now probably 5 a.m, and she wakes up. She wakes me up. Just, psst, hey, psst. I'm like, what? She's like, can we cuddle? I'm like, excuse me? I don't know you. You just went on a date with my boss. She's like, I just want to cuddle. So we start cuddling, and she's like, you saved me tonight. I could have froze outside, blah, 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 the typical drunk girl story. She's like, I owe you a favor. So I'm like, oh, like that's not necessary. I was just being nice, She's like, do you want some head? I'm like, well, who's going to pass that up? So I was like, sure. It's about to happen, and she stops. She's like, yeah, I can't do this. I don't want you thinking I'm a whore.
I already do.
I'm like, what? I said, I don't think that,
Wait, was she drunk?
No, she was sober now.
Okay, but she was drunk when
I first got her at like 8 p.m.
Okay.
So I was like, oh. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you are, And she's just like, well, she's like, I just can't tonight, right? And I'm like, oh. As, mind you, she's like grabbing it and feeling it and everything. Like, so now we're just getting teased. So like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to sleep. And then she starts talking like a little child, like little baby voice. She's like, your apartment is so cute. And then goes to normal voice. And she's like, oh my God, I just love your bed. Back to normal voice. It was like creepy, really creepy. So now it's probably 7 a.m. I got like 0 sleep because of her. She starts getting calls from this dude. I don't know him.
Who's not your boss?
Yeah. She's like, oh, this is a guy from like last summer. Like, you don't got to explain yourself to me. I don't care. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. So she ends up talking to him on the phone and just says she's at her apartment. She called off of work. She's sick. Then she has to call her work. She calls her work, calls in sick. And then she calls her mom. Starts telling me, I just met this guy and my boss dropped me off. And then, I was drunk and I lost my keys. So I went to this guy's apartment and now I'm sleeping in the bed with him and I just met him. She's telling her mom this right next to me. So then, I just think it's very weird. Your mom shouldn't know. And she's 33.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Starts telling me her whole life story. I don't care. I just want to go to bed.
Wait, what's a little bit of her life story?
Um,
Let's hear it.
okay. Well, she grew up in Algonac. She works at a corporate office now, and she had a bad relationship for years, but never wanted to get out of it because he was buying her stuff. She just wanted free stuff. And then she dated around a couple years. Can't find happiness. Everybody tells her she's too happy and breaks up with her, which I've never heard before. And then she bought this apartment 3 years ago. She's a loner. She comes home from work and just smokes weed and hangs out by herself.
And gives random guys head.
Attempts. Yeah.
Attempt.
So then, after the whole life story and her talking on the phone with her mom, she grabs it again. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I'm going to do it. I'm like, okay. So leading up to it, stops. I just can't. You know, I can't do this. I'm like, what is, like, I've never had this happen before, but I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I just don't want you thinking I'm a whore. You keep saying this, but you keep grabbing it. You keep going back and forth and doing weird stuff. So she just sits there now and is just putting it in her hands and just going back and forth between each hand. Like, not even a hand job, just holding it.
Did she do the baby voice again?
No. I would have pulled my dick away. So now we just go from, like, awkwardly, like, I don't know if she knew, like, I don't know, like, almost like she didn't know what she was doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, this is kind of getting a little weird, you know? And she's like, well, I just like looking at it. She's like, but I can't do anything. I just can't. Like, okay. Then she calls my boss. I was like, you need to go get my purse, blah, blah, blah. And then puts it on mute. And she's like, oh my God, I've never wanted to hang out with him, go on another date with him, right? She's like, he just grosses me out. She's like, but you're cute. Then she unmutes it and she goes, yeah, I'm with your coworker or employee. I'm in his bed right now. We're busy. I gotta go. So hangs up. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I gotta get going for the day. You know, I got stuff to do today since I have the day off. And she's like, okay. Well, my roommate comes out of her room. Tell me why she hops out of my bed and hides in the closet.
Oh, she thought that was...
No, she knows I had a roommate. We talked about it already.
Does she know
But she,
her?
like, no. She hides in the closet because she doesn't want to be seen as a grown woman being in another man's bed.
You're 33.
I tried getting it out. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, shh, quiet. I stay quiet. I'm like, what was that about? She's like, well, I just don't want to be seen, you know, doing the walk of shame and your roommate. I'm like, I've never seen you ever, and you live a building down from me. I don't think my roommate has ever seen you. Mm-hmm. So then she's like about to leave, you know, and she's like, oh, can I see your phone? I got to call mine. I don't know where I put it in your apartment. So I hand her my phone, and she pulled the move on me. She called herself. She goes, now you have my number. We can text. I know. So then from there, she went home. I fell asleep, woke up. She called me, and she goes, are you doing okay? Why me?
Wait, question. She lives in the same apartment complex as you.
Mm-hmm. One building over.
She doesn't have her keys?
No, she lost them.
Lost her keys.
Yeah. And her purse.
My
boss found it at the bar.
So how was she able to go home?
In the morning. We had to wait the whole night. And then my boss went to his appointment. And I went and got her bag at the bar when it opened up at 11.
So she couldn't get into her apartment?
Nope. So she had to just wait at my house. So she finally leaves and then calls me asking if I'm okay. I'm like, what do you mean, me? She's like, well, just, you know, are you all right? I'm like, I was fine. What do you mean? Like, I'm the one that rescued you. She goes, I just want to make sure you're doing okay. She's like, by the way, I left my glasses in your apartment. Maybe I can come back and get them later? I'm like, well, I got stuff to do. You know, I'll drop them off at your doorstep or something. She goes, no, I think we should just wait till we can see each other again. I don't know how to politely tell her no. So I was like, well, I'll let you know when I'm done with my errands.
Maybe tell her you have a girlfriend?
She knows I doesn't.
Well, you got back with your old girlfriend that you almost got married to. Duh.
I could say that, yeah.
You know, we rekindled an old fling. I was with this girl for 7 years. Whatever happened to baking somebody cookies to say thank you?
Apparently we just do childish little touch and feel games.
That is so bizarre. Ain't that the story, though? I don't want you to think I'm a whore. So the first time I see you, the first 2 hours that I've known you, let me see your wiener.
And I'm like, ma'am, you need to go sleep on the couch.
Wow. So, did you tell your boss?
Yeah, and he's dying laughing. Just hysterically laughing the whole time. Like, yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I just had to go home. I couldn't handle her anymore. I'm like, so you pawned her off on me?
Yeah, he did. So how was his date with her? Did he give you any details of it?
No, he just said they just end up getting a couple bottles of wine, and that's how she got wasted. I'm like, thanks, dude.
33.
Well, he dropped her off at home, and then he left. And he got a call 45 minutes later from her saying she can't get in her apartment because she doesn't know where her keys are at. So for 45 minutes after he dropped her off, she sat at her front door. God knows doing what.
But for sure, her keys were gone.
Yes.
Because he found them, or the bar had them. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I hope I never see her again.
So that was a pretty interesting story, eh? I'm gonna go ahead and time-lapse the rest of this haircut because the video was over 50 minutes long, and that's just way too long for a video. And then we started talking about Christmas stuff and Christmas presents, what we're gonna do for certain people, and just in case they watch this video, we have to be safe. So I thought that was a really funny story. Trace has seemed to just have the worst luck with girls lately. So as soon as he walked in today, he had said that he had a good story for me. So I had asked him if we could record it, and he said yes, of course. And there you go. It's a great story, Trace. Keep them coming. But I do hope that he ends up finding a nice girl, because that's what he deserves, and not these cuckoo banana ones that seem to keep coming around. But they do make for a good story. So alright guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Thank you for watching. We're going to put on some tunes here, and I'll talk to you guys later.